This is the VoiceOver Marketing Podcast, episode number 62.
Hi, this is voiceover artist and ring announcer Shane Graham. And you're listening to the VoiceOver Marketing Podcast with John Melly!
Wowie, wow, wow!
Oh, yes, wowie, wow, wow. That was cool. Thank you, Shane Graham, for that very fun intro. And thanks to everybody who's been sending in their slate for the VoiceOver Marketing Podcast. We've gotten close to 30 of them, so we've got plenty of them to keep us busy for many episodes to come. Thank you very much. If you would like to send in your own slate, just say, hey, this is your name, where you're from, voiceover talent, and you're listening to the VoiceOver Marketing Podcast with John Melly. Would love to have you be part of the show. And if we use your slate at the beginning of the episode, we'll shoot you a quick email saying, hey, you're going to be at the beginning of the next episode of the VoiceOver Marketing Podcast. Thank you for sending it in. So thanks for spending some time on the episode today. I know you've got a lot of things vying for your attention and time, and I want you to know how much I really appreciate you making the time to listen to this episode. A couple of housekeeping matters before we dive into this week's question. The Facebook group for the VoiceOver Marketing Podcast continues to grow. We've got, as of this recording, 1,668 members from all over the world. And the number of downloads for all of the various episodes, we are rapidly approaching 100,000 downloads with 96,820 downloads. And check this out. We've got a number of countries that are downloading and listening to this show. As of, I'm looking at downloads per country. We've got 197 downloads from Canada, the United States with, this is over, how many months? Since January, we've had 197 downloads from Canada, 4,191 from the good old US of A. Russia, we have some Russian meddling going on here with 4 downloads. Finland with 14, Sweden with 3, Norway has 1, the United Kingdom, hello everyone, 79 downloads, Australia with 22, New Zealand has 2, we even have 7 from Indonesia, China 13, India 7, Pakistan 1, Japan we have 27, and South Korea 9, Saudi Arabia, we have 3. Turkey, we have 3. Iran, we have 1. Let's see. The Ukraine, we have 2. Romania, we have 5. Serbia, we have 5. Germany, we have 20. Lithuania, we have 3. My gosh. The Netherlands, we have 22. France, 47. Switzerland, we have 8. Italy, we have 5. And let's see. Over in Ireland, we have 6. Mexico, there are 15. And Ecuador, there was 1, and Colombia, there have been 20. So, I mean, yeah, I know I'm missing. Oh, we've got a couple in Africa. We've got 3 from Kenya and 1 from Ghana. So, hey, everyone around the world. Thank you very much for listening to the VoiceOver Marketing Podcast. This is so cool. Isn't technology amazing? I kind of have a love-hate relationship with technology, but this is pretty darn cool. We have an interesting question for this episode. I'm going to play that for you. This question was submitted to us through the SpeakPipe application. If you go to voiceovermarketingpodcast.com, you can leave us a voice message for free using your very own computer and microphone. And we had a gentleman named Louie. Or at least that's the name that he gave when he left this question for the VoiceOver Marketing Podcast. So let's listen to, quote unquote, Louie's question, and we'll come back with hopefully an educated answer. All right, here it is.
Hi, John. Love the podcast. Been binging. I'm a fellow bee lover and an East Coaster like yourself. Well, I'm up here in friggin' Maine where the lobsters are biting. I don't know. Anyway, wondering about pseudonyms and what your thoughts are. I got some advice from a voiceover coach that said, keep your face hidden, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I may have gotten bad advice. Did I? What are your thoughts? Thanks.
Oh, Louis, thank you for the question. And the reason why I started the question off, the message subject from the gentleman who sent that question in, he said, this is Louis, quote unquote, or is it? So this is why I'm playing around with that. It's an interesting question. I think it used to be that you would get advice from coaches that you shouldn't use your picture in your marketing or on your website because doing so may influence subconsciously a person making a casting decision. If they saw your picture, it might influence whether or not they thought you would be able to portray a particular character. So if they saw that you were, I don't know, average size height guy, height and weight guy, and your character was supposed to be this really tall, gargantuan dude that weighs 300 pounds, they might say, oh, well, he doesn't look the part, so let's not cast him. And I'm making that up. They don't look the part. I guess that's what they were trying to avoid. And that there was, that radio and production and audio is the theater of the mind. And you want your performance, your vocal performance should paint the picture along with the other music and sound effects. And if it was a video that you were narrating of some kind, video of some kind that you're narrating, they weren't going to see you anyway. So why show your face? And I guess there's something to be said about that, but I think like a lot of other things that have changed drastically over the years recently with technology and social media and the ability to record from home and all of the other wholesale changes that have taken place in this industry and others. Everybody's phone has a camera now. So I think on some level, particularly with younger folks who are used to that, not making a judgment of whether or not it's good or bad, they're used to dealing with pictures. They want to see something. I think people are used to the idea of photos, on your website. And if you have a social media account, they're used to seeing that. And I know that there are some folks who get turned off when they don't see a picture. If somebody has a social media profile on any of the platforms and they don't have a picture, those are looked at with suspicion from some folks. I understand the comment that the person who gave you that piece of advice, I understand where they're coming from. I don't think it matters as much in this day and age because if you look at performers in voiceover, a lot of people have their photos on their website or they're on social media, and that veil of secrecy of what that person looks like, that's gone. I think, if you look at a lot of voiceover talents web pages, they have pictures. And I have my picture, and I haven't really experienced anything where somebody said, no, we don't want to cast him because he doesn't look the part, And I think people are sensitive to that type of mindset now anyway with profiling and things of that nature and discrimination. And I think all those things are positive changes. I think we can be hypersensitive to them in many respects in this time as well. And it's like anything, when you're in a new place with stuff, it takes a while to get used to things, And so I say, go ahead and use your picture if you want to. If you don't want to, you may want to do something. You could do a caricature. I know plenty of voiceover talent that use cartoonish type depictions of themselves. In fact, I have a character. His name is Mike the Microphone. It's not the same as Cyber Mike, my cyber assistant Mike. But Mike the Microphone is a caricature or a character that I had developed as part of my brand. And I use him in many ways. and in many poses. I got him flexing his muscles. He's going to be a big part of the voiceover athlete club that I'm going to be starting up very soon. Stay tuned for that. So characters or cartoons or caricature representations of yourself can be used to great effect. And some voiceover talent use pictures of themselves in a character that they're portraying. You know, we have a number of voiceover talent who listen to this podcast who are also in other performing arts like dance or theater, movies, television. And, you know, they portray themselves in character from there. So I think an image can be useful. If you're interested in about privacy and personal security, I totally understand that as well. That's a whole other area of interest for me in terms of, not giving up all your personal information so that people can data mine everything about you. To me, it's really creepy. And the stuff that Facebook is going through right now that's been going back, evidently they've been doing this for quite some time now. And now it's just coming to light, the extent of how much of our information is out there. So from a personal security and personal safety perspective, I can understand that concern. I'm kind of getting into other areas, but they are legitimate. You know, if we are voice talent and for the lack of a better word, celebrities in our area, then, a certain amount of prudence and due diligence is worthwhile. So I think that is something to consider. So use a different image. In terms of another name, I think, if you're going to portray a character, that's fine. A lot of people in radio use radio personality names, You just want to be, it comes down to a practical issue as to whether or not somebody can pay you in that name or in your business name. So if your name really isn't Louie and you have them make the check out to Louie, then you may not be able to deposit it and retrieve the money. I think also there's people really want, what's the word? People are so skeptical today that we expect honesty, We expect it, but it doesn't. Unfortunately, for a lot of us, when honesty happens, it surprises us. And so I think if you want to be genuine and use your name and for your business, that's fine. If you're going to use a pseudonym and a character name, then you probably should have everything go to a business, payments made out to a business name that you have, and that's beyond the scope of this particular question, I know. But overall, unless you've got some real security issues and privacy issues that you want to deal with, I don't see how you can go wrong with just being yourself and calling yourself who you are and using your picture, And it helps people get to know you and all of that. So I guess that's where I come down on it. I don't think it's anywhere near the big deal that it used to be. Anyway, I hope that helps. We actually have another SpeakPipe message. This one is from Tanya Sims, and Tanya is a past guest on this program as well. Tanya was our guest on episode 43, How to Create Your Own Book and Make Money from It, and she left us a SpeakPipe message after she took some of the advice from one of our previous episodes. So let's give a listen to that.
This is Tanya. I just wanted to thank you so much for your podcast. I took your advice when you said go to some of these events that you would be the only voiceover artist there. And that's what I did. I thought about you today because I went to the Home Housewares show and it was huge. So, matter of fact, it took 2 days. I went on Saturday and I went today. And not only did I get a lot of leads, but I also came back with a full stomach because it was a lot of good treats and a lot of fun. And I really got to network a lot. So thanks. And I'll keep listening for your next podcast. So thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
That is awesome. Tanya, thank you for taking the time to send us that voice message on SpeakPipe. And again, folks, if you want to contact us directly here at the Voiceover Marketing Podcast, go to voiceovermarketingpodcast.com And on the right-hand side of the screen, if you just hang there for maybe 5 seconds, a little box will pop up on the right-hand side where you can enter your name and email address and use the SpeakPipe app, for the lack of a better term, where you can leave us a voice message, a minute-long voice message, and it comes directly to me. And we'll put you in the show. Would love to have you be part of the show and ask your questions. And we're creating a sense of community here in the Voice Over Marketing Podcast. So, Tanya, that was really cool. And actually, something I hadn't thought about is you frequently get trade shows and special interest conferences. Like, she mentioned the Homewares show, but I know here in the Boston area, we do the camping and RV show. They do the auto show. They do a Christmas crafts show in November. And they have the boat show. I think I said that already. But they have all of these different shows that you could just attend as, if you're interested in one of these shows, go to the show and do what Tanya did. Network. Be the voice-over talent that goes to the show. Whatever you're interested in. If there are trade shows and exhibit booths and stuff like that, it's perfect. Great idea. Nice job. If you've got a story of something that you've been able to implement for your business, give us a call or leave us a message on the SpeakPipe at voiceovermarketingpodcast.com. Right-hand side of the screen, little microphone will pop out, and you can leave us a 1-minute message for free. We would love for you to do it. Please do. And we recently got another question at the Voice Over Marketing Podcast group on Facebook. This question comes from Brandon Roussel. Brandon, I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly, sir. So he says, hi, everyone. It's a question. I don't know if it's marketing or not, but if I had business cards for myself and my website, would it be rude or disrespectful to give those to other voiceover talent that I meet at conventions and the like? And either way, what's the appropriate way to hand out business cards? Okay, so we have a 2-part question. First of all, Brandon, thank you for asking it. Not a stupid question. It's an interesting question. Let's tackle the first part first. Would it be rude or disrespectful to give your business card to other voice talent that you meet at conventions? It depends. And it kind of dovetails into your follow-up question of what's the appropriate way to hand out business cards. So here's the thing. The last thing you should do in any situation, in my opinion, is to just walk up to people and say, here, have my business card. Here, have my business card. Here's my business card. Or just scatter them all over the table, hoping people will pick them up. That's a waste of money and a waste of time. A business card, I believe, is something that you'll exchange with someone after you've developed some rapport. You're going to have conversation. You're going to talk about things. You're going to talk about experiences. You may, if you're at a voiceover conference, you may talk about one of the sessions or one of the speakers or one of the exhibitors, and you'll have conversations about what you think about all of those things. What did you get out of so-and-so's presentation about blank? And, just meet people and have conversation. And if you feel like you're getting along well and they're genuinely someone you're interested in keeping in touch with, and you believe there could be mutually beneficial opportunities for both of you, then say, hey, do you mind if I give you a card? And then they'll say, no, not at all. And then they'll probably hand you their card as well. I think that's the appropriate way to hand out business cards, is after you've developed some rapport. Or if you're sending out marketing materials and you have hard copy materials that you're sending out, maybe a letter or something else, nothing wrong with paper clipping your business card to something. Business cards are kind of like calling cards, and they're ways to remind people of the conversation that they had. And if you want, you can jot down. Here's a little trick I'll tell you about with business cards is when you get someone else's business card, on the back, if there's room, write down a quick 1 or 3 word synopsis of what you spoke to this person about so you remember the conversation. If you have a business card, a neat thing to do is to personalize the business card in some way. If there's all your information on there, and it's the same as everything else. What you can do is you can say, you know what I want to do is I want to give you my personal email address, because we have email addresses. I have email addresses. Then there are email addresses that I give out only to certain people. What you want to do is, if you've had a really good conversation with someone, say, you know what, I want to make sure that we keep in touch. Here is my private email address or my private number. And you put that on the back of the card. And you need to be authentic about this, but the person is going to walk away from it even more impressed than just having your business card. They're going to say, oh, I've got his business card or her business card with some special information on it. That's a tip. Whether or not it's rude or disrespectful to give out your card to other voiceover talent, like I said, if you do it the right way, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I would also ask you to ask the question is, why would you do it? And that's a legit question one way or another. It's, why are you giving this person your card? What is the intention behind it? Is your intention, and I may be missing the boat on this, but a lot of the folks that listen to this show are solopreneurs, and they're marketing their voiceover services. Now, we can refer people for opportunities. I've done it here in the podcast group on Facebook, where I've auditioned, didn't get the part, and they've asked me to help them find someone who may fit the part, and I've posted the opportunity and the information at the Voiceover Marketing Podcast group on Facebook, and people have gotten gigs, and that's cool. So if you're looking for that, in that sense, that's fine if you want to build up a stable of people that you can refer, and you can do that for them. But it's a fine line between that and looking to people like you're going to try and take their job away from them. It's like if people are saying, hey, I'm a guy in my 30s to mid 50s and, I want a natural sounding voice in the tenor range. Well, that's me. And so I'm probably not going to be helping you out because I want that gig. Not to put too fine a point on it. But if you can bring something to the table that I can't do, yeah, great. I'd love to have your demo. Send it to me, give me your card, and I'll keep you on file. So it's a fine line. And then I think the follow-up is just a generic, an occasional, hey, how you doing? Hope everything's well. Just so that you can stay in front of them on some level. But if you're looking to say, hey, I can do voices, and they're like, oh, yeah, so can I, then that presents a bit of a problem, and you're not likely to get a lot of payoff there. But if you do something like what Tanya did, that she just left the message, and you go to a show, a trade show, then by all means, bring a stack of business cards and network. But again, do it when you've established rapport with the people that you're talking to. Here's another tip. If you're going there to just network, be respectful, because the vendors at any of these shows, and I'm speaking as a person who has been an exhibitor, if you're just going up to people and trying to talk to them about your voiceover services, do it when they don't have 7 or 3 people at their exhibit area that are interested in buying stuff. That costs them money per square foot, and if they have electricity brought in, they're probably paying extra for that. And some of these shows can be quite expensive, and they need to make money, They don't want to lose money. And so if you're taking up their time, talking to them about, hey, I'm a voiceover talent, and I can do this, that, and the other thing for your business, and you're not interested in actually buying something, well, do that when they're down, when it's slow for them, and be respectful. Like if they've got somebody who wants to buy whatever it is that they're selling or is expressing interest or has questions, please do yourself and the vendor a favor and say, it looks like you got somebody who wants to buy something from you. I'll come back later or I'll wait. That way they know you're not going to keep them from doing what they're there for. They're not there to meet you. They're there to sell stuff to you. And if you want to buy stuff, great. Start up the conversation. But, don't just buy stuff for the sake of buying stuff. Buy something that you want. But be respectful of the exhibitors because they're there to make money and pay for their existence on that trade floor. Get out of their way when they're making sales and talking to clients who are interested in buying. I'll just add that to it. So I hope that's helpful. Brandon, thanks again for posting your question in the group. And thank you for listening to the podcast. Folks, we got some neat stuff coming up for the podcast, some neat stuff coming up for the voiceover community. I want to thank you for listening and thank you for sharing the show with your friends and colleagues in the voiceover and production worlds. And we'll talk with you next week. Take care.
Our program originates in the Boston studios. We hope you'll join us again. Until then, we bid you au revoir, keep your chin up, and the best of luck.
Well, that's it for this episode of the VoiceOver Marketing Podcast. If you like this podcast, please subscribe to it at voiceovermarketingpodcast.com so you'll get notices of new episodes, and please share it with your friends and colleagues in the voiceover world. Also, it would be a huge help if you'd like this podcast and rate it on iTunes to help keep it near the top of the list. Feel free to share your comments and questions about this episode and future topics you'd like discussed at voiceovermarketingpodcast.com. And if you'd like more information on one-on-one coaching with me and mastermind group opportunities where we focus on growing your business, feel free to drop me a line at my cyber assistant's email address at mike@johnmelly.com. Thanks for listening. Now go out there and share your voice with the world.